It's 2024. Happy New Year, Fresh Baked. And with a whole new year ahead of us, we want to catch you guys up on what to expect at the Disneyland Resort in this coming year. And that new 2024 season begins unofficially with the end of the holiday season on January 7th. The next day, January 8th, we are going to get our first new show of the year, Mickey's Mixed Magic, right here on Main Street. Now, while it's not Wondrous, which is a fantastic show, and we're going to get into that in a little bit, Mickey's Mixed Magic is a good show, something that I'm looking forward to. I actually like Mixed Magic, and I'm particularly fond of the fact that they're adding it this year, where the expectation was in 24 that we were going to be light on shows, but we're going to be getting wall-to-wall shows here on Main Street, starting in January with Mickey's Mixed Magic. Also beginning in January will be our first After Dark event, Sweethearts Night. That begins in January. Sweethearts Night is turning into one of the more reliable After Dark events. They tend to rotate these. They bring in some new ones and some old ones, but that one is sticking around. You're going to find Sweethearts Night here at Disneyland starting January 23rd, and then on the 25th and the 30th. Also, February 1st, 6th, 8th, 12th, and 14th. These are important dates to know, not just if you're attending Sweethearts Night, which I believe they're already sold out anyway, but for those guests who are going to be here on those nights who are not attending Sweethearts Night. You have to plan ahead. You have to be aware that on After Dark event nights, standard guests, regular day guests are kicked out at about, I want to say 6 p.m. So know that coming in. They warn you when you buy your tickets, they tell you in advance this is going to be a limited time, or I should say, limited hours day. Know that. If you're buying a ticket for a Sweethearts or for an After Dark event night like Sweethearts Night, expect to have your day end at around 6 p.m. The good news, though, is that for those guests who do buy those tickets on those days, it is typical that it's going to be a little less busy than it normally would be on those days, because some people choose not to go at all on those After Dark event nights or days because they don't want to have their hours limited. And for those of you who are fans of the food and wine style events over at DCA, we have Lunar New Year. That's starting in January also. Lunar New Year runs from January 23rd through February 18th. Lots of food, lots of shows. It's a really fun time. And personally, one of my favorite food and wine style events. I love the food during Lunar New Year. And I've heard a rumor that this year they're going to make the show a little bit bigger, a little bit better than they've had in recent years past. Also in the news in January, the Haunted Mansion will be closing. Now, it normally closes every January to take down the Nightmare overlay. This year it'll be closing 2 weeks later than it normally does, on January 22nd, but it's not going to be reopening in 2 weeks like it normally does. It's going to stay closed until August, when the Halloween season begins again at Disneyland. It's going to stay closed because they are updating the queue. They're going to update the interior queue and also expand out into the common area, into the fountain area outside of New Orleans Square. Disney hasn't said officially how long the refurb is going to take, but the expectation is, for most people who are paying attention, is that it will be closed for that entire time, between January 22nd and August 23rd, the beginning of the holiday season. But that's not even the biggest news that's happening in January. For me, personally, the biggest news story in January is what's going to be happening here at Pirates of the Caribbean. On January 22nd, the same day that they closed the Haunted Mansion, and while also Splash Mountain Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going to be closed, on that day they're going to be adding Pirates to Genie Plus, to Lightning Lane. Now, we've done a whole video on this on our Fresh Baked Presents channel. We talked about it also on State of Disneyland, but that's something that guests should be aware of, they should be prepared for. If you're going to be here in the parks on January 22nd or anytime after that, up until at least August is my expectation, expect to find Pirates of the Caribbean on Genie Plus, on Lightning Lane, and expect to find, I mean, it has to be longer standby wait times. I hope you guys are ready, by the way, for Fresh Baked. If you're looking for what's going to happen on Fresh Baked in 2024, expect us to cover the heck out of this in January. I'm going to probably be doing a lot of recon at Pirates in January to prepare for the closing. I want to plot wait times from different points in the attraction, and then I'll have a baseline to compare that to after the attraction goes on to Genie Plus. It's going to be a very interesting month or two for me to find out what's happening at Pirates, or what the effect is, the real effect Another ride closure to be aware of in January is going to be the Astro Orbiter. It's been closed for a while already. The expectation is that it's going to return in winter of 2024. Our understanding, our belief is that's going to be February. You know what I love about Main Street? The people, yeah. The music, awesome. But one of my favorite things about Main Street is the opportunity to see a parade on Main Street. A daytime parade. Great news coming in February. Magic happens. It comes back starting February 2nd, and the best part is there's no end date. So that means it's a permanent return, as best as I can tell. Starting February 2nd, we're going to get the return of a daytime parade here on Main Street, and they're going to do one run at night. Well, at night during the winter hours, and it'll be 2 daytime parades otherwise. This is great news again from my perspective, because I was prepared, ready mentally for there being no parades here on Main Street in 2024. And not only are we getting Magic Happens back, which is a fantastic parade, it's a very fun, very colorful, very energetic parade. The music is great, but it's open-ended, which sounds like, as I mentioned, that it's a permanent return. Very happy to hear this news. And then meanwhile, at the Fantasyland Theater, Tales of the Lion King will be closing as at the end of the holiday season on January 7th. Celebrate Gospel will be having a return engagement for 2 days only. Otherwise, there are no plans for the Fantasyland Theater outside of that event in January. I'm hoping they do something with the space between January and the end of the year in 2024. The Mark Twain has been closed for quite a few months. In February, we do expect it to return. The refurb schedule shows that it should be reopening on February 3rd. Also in February, something we'll be paying attention to is the Disneyland Railroad. There's nothing on the calendar. Disney has not said anything, but it is my expectation that there's going to be some kind of effect on the Disneyland Railroad from the Haunted Mansion refurb. That's going to be beginning in January, on January 22nd when they close the attraction. How long it'll take for that to happen, I'm not sure. But what they're doing with the Haunted Mansion is going to make its way towards the track. I don't know how much interference there will be on that, but I do think that there's a possibility that either in February or March we might see a closing of the Disneyland Railroad. Like I said, nothing has been reported by Disney. There's nothing on the refurb calendar. So I don't even base that on just my gut instinct saying I don't think it's possible to do this refurb without having some kind of effect. So if you're a fan of the Disneyland Railroad and you're going to be here in February and March, stay tuned to Fresh Baked, watch that refurb calendar. March at Disneyland brings the beginning of the Easter season. They usually run this for about, I want to say like 3 or 4 weeks. And with Easter being on the last day of the month, March 31st, I would expect the Easter season to start this year, probably, at the beginning of the month. It's not quite as involved, the Easter season, as it has been in the past. No costumes this year, or last year, I should say. And the events are basically just limited to the Easter egg hunt that they do here throughout the park, in both parks actually, and in downtown Disney for that matter. So there's the Easter egg hunt, but that is about all you should expect in March for the Easter season. We can also expect the return of the proper Food and Wine Festival over at DCA. That will run from the first of the month, March 1st through April 22nd. So nearly 2 months of Food and Wine Festival. Great event. We love going to Food and Wine Festival and trying out all the new foods at all the kiosks. I think we ate everything last year and a few drinks, if I do recall. That was a fun time. Look for us to be covering the heck out of Food and Wine Festival in 2024. Also in March, we have a new After Dark event. We've already covered Sweethearts Night. In March, a month later, you'll see the first of the Disney Channel night. Just 2 events, March 5th and March 7th. The Disney Channel event is just like it sounds. It's a celebration of the shows and characters that appeared on the Disney Channel, but not the ones from 2000, basically, the Lizzie McGuire era. I'm really curious about that event. I know Liz is, because she's a product of that generation. I am not. We're going to be there that night. We bought our tickets already for Disney Channel night. Hopefully you guys can check that out with us. Now, we mentioned that Mixed Magic was going offline in March for a little while, and that is because they are going to do a limited run of Wondrous, the Disney 100th anniversary fireworks show. That was a great show. It ran for most of the year in 2023, went offline because of the holidays, Halloween and Christmas. Another one of those shows that I was not expecting to come back, but we're going to get a limited run. You'll see Wondrous starting on March 22nd and ending on April 14th. That's all we're going to get for Wondrous in 2024 is just that stretch. And then following that, we're going to see the return of Mixed Magic. And that actually brings us to April, because if you're wondering why we weren't getting a longer run with Wondrous, it's because they've got a lot of stuff planned for April. New events for the summer, and those events are going to have fireworks shows of their own. And that includes Pixar Fest, which is coming back after they did it for 1 year, never saw Pixar Fest again. It's back this year. They're bringing it back for the summer starting on April 26th. That is the reason why Wondrous is ending, so we can see the Together Forever fireworks show, which is a pretty fun show. We were there for the premiere night of that. Pixar Fest runs from April 26th through August 4th. That fireworks show is going to get new scenes, actually. New scenes from Turning Red and from Elemental. That's at Disneyland. DCA is also going to be joining the party. They're getting their own parade. They're calling it Better Together, and they're calling it a new parade, but really, I'm sure it's the Pixar Pals parade with a couple new scenes added. Oh, and also for Pixar Fest, this weird thing on Main Street. I can't bring myself to liking this. This is concept art for what they're going to be putting there at the top of Town Square. Not a fan myself, but I am looking forward to Pixar Fest nonetheless. Another of those events headed for the parks in April is Star Wars Season of the Force. Just like Pixar Fest, it's an event that's returning after having been gone for quite a few years. It'll be here in Tomorrowland. It's going to start on April 5th and run through June 2nd. We're going to see new scenes in Star Tours. My understanding is they're going to be scenes based on the Ahsoka series on Disney+. And of course, Hyperspace Mountain. That'll be here for the duration of the event, and they'll be celebrating both here in Tomorrowland and in Galaxy's Edge. Speaking of Season of the Force, I am standing here in Galaxy's Edge, right where you want to be if you want to catch the special presentation of the fireworks that you can see from Galaxy's Edge. They're gonna go off right over here behind those spires. These are the regular fireworks that you see, Mixed Magic, Wondrous, whatever happens to be showing at the time. But during Season of the Force, they're gonna be playing music, John Williams music, Star Wars music, in concert with the fireworks that are happening here. This is a big deal because while you can always watch fireworks from here, whatever fireworks are happening to be going off at the time, it's always silent. There's never music. Season of the Force 2024, music with your fireworks here at Galaxy's Edge. For this entire guide, from January to December, May is going to bring an update, perhaps the one that makes me the happiest, the one I'm most thrilled to report on, the return of Fantasmic. Fantasmic is going to be back out here on the Rivers of America on May 24th. The show's been down for a while as they recover from the Murphy Dragon bursting into flames. And we're going to be getting a new show, almost exactly the same as before. Obviously, something new and different to replace the Maleficent Dragon scene. Also, Disney is reporting that we're going to be getting the Peter Pan scene back on the Columbia. Instead of the pirate scene, we're getting the Peter Pan scene. That's going to make you fans of nostalgia pretty happy. It makes me pretty happy. But overall, I'm just happy to have a show back. Fantastic, perhaps my most favorite nighttime show here in the park on May 24th. In June, the only thing new coming to the park during that time will be Pride Night, an After Dark event that's going to be going on for 2 nights, I should say, June 18th and June 20th. Join us as we'll be covering that this year. Had a great time last year at Pride Night. A lot of fun, a lot of great energy. One of the most fun After Dark events I've been to. July, we got 4th of July. There's going to be fireworks and stuff. August, we will see the return of the Halloween season as it does every single year. This year, coming back on August 23rd, which is about a week earlier than usual. Fireworks on Main Street. Haunted Mansion Holiday here, which, by the way, will be returning after a 7-month refurb. That's part of that return on August 23rd. And then you've got Oogie Boogie Bash at DCA. Also in DCA at the same time, Plaza de la Familia. Really fun event. I recommend checking that out. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't mention also that D23 is back in 2024. Hey guys, look for that at the Anaheim Convention Center, August 9th through August 11th. Expect crowds to be pretty intense here at the resort on those 3 days. It's going to be a very busy weekend. And that brings us to November and December. Thankfully, we've got the right theming behind us for the backdrop on this. For this update, that's the beginning of the holiday season here at Disneyland. In 2024, the holiday season will start on November 15th. That's actually 5 days later than it started in 2023 when it was November 10th. It'll run from the 15th through January 7th. Not expecting any major differences for this holiday season. The usual Christmas parade, the Christmas Fantasy Parade, fireworks, characters in costume, and obviously lots of holiday food and treats. And that covers most of 2024, but not everything. We got a few more notes. Tiana's Bio-Adventure, people are wondering, when is it going to reopen? We've heard 2024. No specific range has been given from Disney yet. Still no information on that as of this recording. The closest that they've been able to nail that down is later in 2024. My assumption is the winter season. I'm looking for November or December. And finally, with regards to construction updates, that sort of thing, Downtown Disney is still in progress. Will continue to be in progress for most of the year, I have a feeling. But Disney is saying that some of those major restaurants and shops are going to be open sometime in 24. Din Tai Fung, Paseo and Centrico, and more probably. Now, I don't know, they didn't say when specifically, but the early reports that I got was that Downtown Disney, some of it would be ready to go by summer of 24. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, we'll be there every week to keep up with that construction. These walls will probably still be up in front of the restrooms at Adventureland. I will eat my flat cap if these walls are down at any point in the year of 2024. And for those curious, because I get asked this question in almost every video, no word from Disney on whether or not they're going to be bringing back Magic Key sales, new sales in 24. I have no idea. I am not personally optimistic. They do not appear to be at all interested in that at the moment. I sense no urgency from them. They haven't sold any for a very long time. It's as if they've just stopped. So that is my expectation until I hear otherwise from Disney. I'm not looking for new Magic Key sales in 2024. I'm also not expecting them to change the reservation system, though I will be keeping my eye out on Walt Disney World. I believe it's January 8th when they start up, when they go to their new reservation system with the good to go dates, etc. Stay tuned. Fresh Bake will be following on that. We'll keep you guys up to date to see if there's any sort of update to our reservation system. And that sound you hear is the 2023 season winding down, coming to the end of, well, it actually is, we're in the new year now, but the season is ending, and in just a couple days, 2024 will begin. I am super hyped. I am super excited for 2024. Don't call it a comeback. It's been here for years. Disneyland is going to kick butt in 2024, and I'm here for it. I can't wait. Stay tuned to Fresh Bake. We're going to be covering all of this and more every single week, plus, obviously, Universal and Knott's Berry Farm, and more. Follow us on Instagram at _Fresh Bake, on Twitter at Fresh Bake Disney, that's Fresh with no E, and on TikTok at Fresh Bake Disney. Also, follow us on our news channel, Fresh Bake Presents, and on our acoustic walkthrough channel where we just do silent, no, jibber jabber free walks to the park. That's called Theme Park POV Pros. And then if you want, you can join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/FreshBake, where we're also providing new and additional content outside of what we're doing on all those other channels. I make a lot of videos. So follow us there if you can, and then take care of yourself, guys. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Bake.